A big wingman, welcome to the wingman's path, to positivity, to raising your vibration, and to creating a life of your choosing. I welcome you and I thank you and I appreciate you inviting me and all us wingmates in to share a spark of positive energy. As I always say, the more of us that shares that spark, the easier I found it to be to hold on to that spark and to share it with my loved ones and my family and my friends and my workplace and my community and my neighbors, and to really surround myself with positive energy, which has been so helpful in helping me raise my vibration and create a life of my choosing. So I welcome you. I thank you. If you're new to the path, my name is Michael Gross. I'm the lucky guy who gets to be the wingman on the wingman's path to positivity. And I not only welcome you, I celebrate you. I congratulate you, because I know how hard it is to find this path. And when you do, when you find this path, well, you're a lucky person right now, because it will help lead you to creating a life of your choosing. So congratulations to you. I'm glad you're here with us, sharing positive energy. Let's get to today's practice, which I'm saying is I'm very curious. I'm very curious. And I saw a quote from Albert Einstein, which sort of brought it up for me today, where he says, I have no special talent, I'm just passionately curious, right? Curiosity is such a wonderful thing that if we can get our vibration moving in a curious direction and allow the momentum to grow, maybe we can start getting curious about what makes us tick, what makes us happy, how we can create a life of our choosing, how we can create a better relationship in our life, how we can have a better job, how we can have more abundance. The list goes on and on. It's whatever you want, how you can create the life of your choosing, right? Let's get curious. Let me tell you how this really came up. Last Friday, Jan and I were still in Bangkok. And if you've ever been to Southeast Asia, we've been there now, I guess, for the last 4 years, on the street, everywhere you are, someone is selling fruit. There's a lot of fruit being sold on the street. And one of those fruits is a fruit called durian. And it's only in Southeast Asia, and they call it the king of fruit over there. And it's a very unusual fruit. And we have not tried it in 4 years, but I've totally been curious about it. And the reason we haven't tried it, well, I'll tell you why. It's not the unusual look of it, although it is a crazy looking fruit. It looks like, if you picture a melon with spikes, I mean, it looks like an old medieval weapon or something that you would swing around and hit someone over the head and kill them with, right? That's how it looks. But it's not the unusual look. It's the smell. The smell of it is, well, I think Jan and I called it, we decided it was a combination of sewage and garbage and old gym socks. Because you'll be walking down the street and you'll say, what is that garbage? And you'll say, oh, someone's selling durian. It happens every day. As a matter of fact, you know, if you're staying in a hotel and they're giving you free breakfast, there's tons of fruit there, of course, all the time. They will never have durian in their hotel. As a matter of fact, there's those signs, you know, with the red circle and the line through it saying, no durian. You're not allowed to bring it into any of the hotels, and you certainly wouldn't want to bring it into your apartment, because it just stinks. I mean, I can't explain it any better than a combination of garbage, sewage, and old gym socks. I think nails it. But last week, Jan and I are in Bangkok, and we're walking around, and we come upon a durian festival. How crazy is that, right? And I've been curious literally for the last 4 years, but I couldn't get myself to stop the smell of it, right? So we walk into this durian festival, and yes, it smelled, but once you're in there, I guess it was okay. But they were, you know, there was tons of it all around, so we were able to taste it. And it was fabulous. I mean, it tasted like, to me, it tasted like coconut custard. It was that creamy and that delicious and that sweet. It was wonderful. I'm not sure it was wonderful enough that I'd ever buy some, and, well, I certainly wouldn't bring it into my apartment. Maybe I'd buy some on the street and try it again. But the point is, it made me think about being curious, about something I've been curious about. And how, with Einstein's quote, how he has no special talent, but he's just passionately curious. It made me think, if you and I could start sending out a vibration today, if we could practice being more curious, right? We could just practice being more curious. Because I think what happens is when you start, like anything, when you start practicing, you get better and better and better at it. And I thought, you know what? Curiosity is a great thing, where you could get curious about anything you want. Maybe you see, maybe you're in a great restaurant or whatever kind of restaurant, and you taste something and you're like, wow, I'm curious about that recipe. Or you see a great piece of furniture and you're like, I wonder how they built that. I'm curious about that. Or maybe you see someone living a life of their choosing, a life that you would love to live. And you say, I'm curious about how I can do that, about how I can bring more joy into my life. I'm curious about how I can be happier. I'm curious about how I can have more wealth. I'm curious about how I can improve my relationship, or I'm curious about how I can start a great relationship with someone. Start getting curious about how you can create a life of your choosing. And your curiosity will lead you to finding the answers, right? How great is that? There's nothing better than finding the answers that you're searching for. And one thing I know is our mind, the human mind, is an inquisitive mind. It loves to answer questions and riddles, and you can just ask the question, how can I be more curious? And just let that sit out there. You don't have to answer it. Your mind will come up with an answer and come back to you. Allow yourself to be curious today. Just start by being curious about something, anything, how this would taste, how that would look, how something else might be. And sooner or later, you'll start getting curious about what's the next step you can take to creating a life of your choosing. And it all starts with being curious. And I thought it would be such a wonderful vibration for you and I to practice today so that we can really get ourselves figuring out the best way to create a life of our choosing, right? Wouldn't that be great? Anyway, I thank you for sharing these moments with me this morning and every morning. As you know, I do these for free, and I love doing them because I have found them to be so helpful to me in creating a life of my choosing. That every time I come up with a new practice or a new vibration I want to practice, I practice it that day. And I'm so glad I share it with you because it helps me practice it even more. And I know our energy mixes because energy equals energy, right? Whatever we want, if we can just match that energy, it will come into our reality. Let's get curious about how we can create a life of our choosing, a better life for ourselves, more happiness, more joy, more love, right? More abundance of everything we want. Have a great day, one in which you do that, one in which you get curious about how you can create a better life or a life of your choosing. And I'll see you again tomorrow. Your Wingman Michael from the Wingman's Path to Positivity back home in New Jersey, signing off.